Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. First things first, if I'm looking like I don't match in color, it is because I'm like in the middle of self-tanning right now, so I have like the color guard all over me, so please ignore that. And then my execution on my eye look today, I'm a little unsure of, especially sometimes like I think it looks good and then I go to edit and it's like a hot mess. So I'm hoping I don't go to edit and it's like even worse than I'm thinking it looks. I played around with the ABH Subculture palette today, which is always a risk in and of itself. So now that we have that out of the way, today's video is going to be a makeup declutter. I have been spring cleaning the last couple weeks, been putting stuff up on my Poshmark for clothes. I like seriously got rid of so much clothes. I'm so excited to like finally have it out of my life, because I haven't worn it in years. And then I'm going shopping today too to buy new clothes, which I'm super excited about. I also went through my makeup and got rid of some things. I'm not going to do like a formal declutter where I lay everything out and like make a decision throughout the video with you guys, just because I'm not getting rid of too much. And I know a lot of times people are bored by videos where you're not getting rid of too much. So I just have this box of items that I personally have decided to part ways with, and I'm going to share them with you guys today. I finally went through my blush and got rid of like 5 or 6 blushes, which I still have way too much blush. But this is a step in the right direction. If you guys are interested in seeing the makeup products in my collection that I'm going to be parting ways with, then stay tuned. But first, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you consider doing so before you go. I post videos every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And without further ado, let's get into this declutter. Okay guys, so it's actually mostly just single shadows, eyeliners, and then some blushes. So it's nothing super exciting. But to start with, I'm getting rid of just about every single ColourPop Super Shock shadow I have in my collection. I think I ended up keeping 2. These have been in my collection for probably 2 years now, so they're already starting to dry out and go bad, because these do only have, I think, a 9-month shelf life. And I just never reach for these. I have similar colors in my collection, and I just don't reach for single shadows, let alone the pressed, let alone the Super Shock formula. I just don't really like to work with it. So I'm getting rid of, and I don't know which of these are even still available. I'm getting rid of Cuddle Buddy, which is this shimmery pink, Jinxie, which is a gold satin, Elixir, which is this orangey color, Seeker, which is this deeper burgundy shade, but this actually comes across more like of a pinky berry on the eyes, and then finally Paradox, which again is kind of like this berry toned red shade. And again, I just like don't reach for these. I don't know if I've even used all of these on my eyes, and they've been in my collection for over 2 years, like I said. So I'm getting rid of those and a couple more single shadows. I have this MAC pressed pigment in Jet Couture, which has been in my collection for probably 5 to 6 years, like a scary amount of time. And this is just a shade that is super pretty, but I'm never ever gonna reach for. I have not reached for this in probably 4 or 5 years. So getting rid of this. Another MAC single shadow I'm getting rid of is this guy right here. This is in the shade Shale, and this is a satin shade. This one really is starting to dry out. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. It's kind of like a gray purple. It really was a beautiful shade, and I actually did really enjoy this at one point. But again, I just am not reaching for single shadows at all. Even when they're in a Z palette, I rarely reach for a single shadow. I typically am just reaching into an actual eyeshadow palette, so I just don't need that anymore. And then from Bang Beauty, I have this chocolate gel liner, which I think is starting to go bad, and I've never used this, so I just don't need to keep this in my collection anymore. I'm going to toss this because I truly do think that this is expired. I actually think everything I've shared with you guys is expired. And this I know is expired. This is the NYX gel liner in Jet Black. Yes. I used to use this a lot, but now I'm just not using black gel liner all that much, and I have my Inglot one if I need one, so I'm just keeping that one and getting rid of this. And then speaking of black liners, I have 3 liners here to get rid of. One is this little Marc Jacobs, I think these are the highliners, yep, and this one is in the shade Blacker. And I have 2 of these, and this one is like starting to get super dried out. It's super draggy, and the other one that I have in my collection is still super creamy. Plus I have so many black liners in my collection, I just don't need this many. From Deuce Cosmetics, I'm not sure which one. This is the Ultra Precision Eyeliner in the shade 500. This one's still pretty creamy, but I just have way too many black liners in my collection to keep this. And then I also have from Beauty for Real. I have this unopened liner, which I am going to keep and either give to my sister, or not keep. I'm going to get rid of and either give it to my sister or put it in with my giveaway stash stuff and give this to a more deserving person who's going to give it a little bit more love. On to the blushes that I'm getting rid of. I'm getting rid of 2 of my NARS minis. The first was the Rouge Gift a couple of years ago. This one is in the shade Gulu. I don't know how you pronounce this one, but I never ever reached for this. In fact, I had this in my 18 and 2018 project pan last year, and I still didn't reach for it even when it was in a project. So that tells me that I just don't like this one for me personally. And then I also have a little mini Orgasm, but I also have a Orgasm in a face palette of mine, so I don't need to keep both. And this one seems super dried out to me. Like I can't even really get this one to swatch for me, so I just need to get rid of it. I'm also getting rid of this little mini Makeup Forever one. I believe I got this as a 100 point perk. I like the color, but it's just such a skinny pan that it's really hard to evenly disperse on a brush, and I have way too much blush in my collection already. I have other shades in my collection that are similar to this color, so I don't need to keep this. I'm also getting rid of this St. Laurent blush. I believe I got this in an Ipsy of some kind. It is a really beautiful pink shade, and I'm going to try and give this one to my sister because the formula is really nice. And I do like the shade, but I have similar shades in my collection, and I can't remember the last time I reached for this or if I've ever reached for this outside of, I know I have like 1 or 2 times, so I can definitely part ways with this. I also have my Benefit Rockateur blush that I'm going to get rid of because I do have this one in a face palette. This was, I believe, the first blush I ever bought, and it's a beautiful, beautiful shade, which I really do like, but this is probably 3 to 3.5 years old at this point, so really old again. I feel like it doesn't perform the way that it used to, and again, I have it in a face palette, so if I really, really want to use it, I can reach for it out of my face palette. And then I'm also getting rid of this NYX Ombre blush in the shade Mauve Me. This used to be a favorite of mine, but it's pretty similar to the shade Aurora from Lorac Cosmetics. And this one has more of like a shimmer to it, whereas the Lorac one is more matte. And when I'm reaching for a color like this, typically I'm wanting more of a matte shade, not anything with too much of a shimmer. Like I said, I do really like the NYX Ombre formula, and there is another shade that I am keeping in this formula, but I think I'm okay with saying goodbye to Mauve Me. And then I just have 3 face palettes to get rid of. The first is this e.l.f. blush palette. This is the darker of the 2 that they offer, and I just don't reach for this because the blushes are just too deep for me and my preferences. They are pretty pigmented. I do think it is a good formula. I might have liked the lighter one more, but I just don't reach into face palettes that much, especially blush palettes, because I just have so much blush already in my collection that's overwhelming me. So this is definitely one that I don't need to keep around anymore. Now this, I swear I've like decluttered and then kept and decluttered and kept, but I really am going to get rid of this. This is my Narcissist Cheek Studio palette. I got this as my like birthday gift to myself like 2 years ago, and it just, the powders in here I feel like are pressed so firmly that they're just a little bit hard to use. These 2 blushes, a little bit too dark for me. I actually think that Gulu or Ghoul shade is in here. It is. And then these both have glitter chunks in them. You do get a full-size Laguna bronzer, which was kind of the reason I was keeping this around. And then you do have a setting powder and a contour shade, neither of which I really ever reach into. I don't know why this one has been so tough for me to part with, but it really truly is time, because I can't remember the last time I was like excited to reach in for this or wanted to reach for this. So I'm gonna be getting rid of this one. And then finally from Sleek Makeup, this is the Solstice Palace. I've kept this, this is the Solstice palette. I've kept this around for quite some time because this was super popular back in the day, but I've never liked it. So what's the point of keeping it around? I do find the 3 powder highlights to be really intense, but also super powdery, and I just do not like the finish that they give to the skin. And then you get this cream highlight, which is what like started the like craze over this. But I don't like the way that this cream highlight looks on my skin personally. I feel like it gives me texture where I didn't even feel like I had texture, and I just don't think it's flattering on my skin. So for that reason, I'm going to also be decluttering this. And then after that, those are all of the items that I'm currently getting rid of in my collection. You guys will have to let me know if you are spring cleaning right now and what you are getting rid of. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!